So initially, I went through the creative artifact brief, um, and I broke down the actual brief into individual sections that I could look at in more detail. Um, 1 second now. Individually designed, so clearly on my own, working on design. I suppose I could work with other lads, but mainly just working on my own, not actually working in pairs. Sustainable found to be a pretty important part of that. So that I feel is one of the most important aspects of the brief so far. The creative artifact, obviously. I then saw that it which contributes towards addressing a real world social and environmental issue. So the real world, obviously, so it actually has a use or a purpose. Um, in everyday life, I suppose, would be more effective instead of a really specific, unique use. Kind of make it more rounded, usable in different situations. I feel would be the best way to go about this. And then obviously social and environmental issues. So then I guess the sustainable then links to the environmental issue, I guess, and then the social again back to the real world, I suppose. I then looked at the actual breakdown of the requirements. 80%, so a huge chunk of the project is actually waste, end of life, or reclaimed material. So that is a very wide range of materials that are possibly used. There are some details there, no pallets, white deal scaffolding, planks, railway sleepers. There's a few there, but surely could find a way around that. Then 20% of newly processed stock, which is, it could be the legs or the back or some small portion. But I'm kind of hoping to go with it'd be nice to have 100% waste reclaimed or end of life artifact at the end of this instead of, that'll be my initial aim, I guess. It represents the client and the user's needs and their requirements. And very important, it actually has to have a use. It's not just a piece of art, I suppose, or made for the sake of being made. I suppose then here in this section I need to kind of show off my skills and what I've learned, and show what I can actually do. High quality finish, sustainable for the user, and must be demonstrated on the artifact. So that's kind of expected for most projects. The size is a footprint of 450mm by 450mm. So from reading that, initially I thought it was like a box, but if it's only the footprint, it can be narrow, I guess, and tall. So as long as it does come under the lightweight. So those are my initial breakdowns of that. Once you see sustainable, you see recyclable. So those were my first kind of thoughts, using cardboard, paper, everyday life bits that kind of get thrown out very quickly, and try and give them a second life, I guess. Reuse them up, try and incorporate them into the project or the artifact. I saw, using Pinterest, I found this kind of cool process of melting plastics with sawdust, which give a nice effect, and you can mold it into a range of different shapes as long as you have a form, I guess, or a mold to put into. I'd have to look into, safe plastics to use, ones that, once you start heating them up, they don't release fumes or anything like that, and they don't react to the wood. So that'd be something I need to look into. And then another, coming up with all the posters around, they get thrown out. It can be quite difficult to recycle those. I know Panda are one of the main ones that kind of go for recycling those, but they kind of do it in bulk. So if there's any ones left over, I think they just get thrown aside and that really is. So it'd be nice to actually use those since they are relevant to what's going on right now in the real world. Maybe use those within the project. I think it's Cari board, they call it. Yeah, I would like to incorporate some steam bending, I think. I enjoy that process and I think it's really aesthetic. So it'd be nice to use that within the project just to give it a bit of life, I guess, or something different. Because there's a huge range of things you can work with. Even if you just go from free bending into just random shapes, or actually creating a mold or a former and using that then. So I think initially I'd like to use that. And then I do like the idea of using, I don't know, older materials like the winch block there. There's a few of those lying around from old fishing boats that have come ashore. On that, actually, I used to work with driftwood, reusing it and burning onto it with a pyrographer, different images and stuff, and selling them in the summertime. So I already have a bit of knowledge there with using the driftwood and what's good and what's bad. So that could come in handy, but I do like the kind of retro kind of look. So hopefully I can incorporate those into my project.